Good evening and welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. I hope you're all doing well. It is Thursday evening. We're doing this quite late now, 9 o'clock. It's a bit late for us, actually. Usually we do about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the evening, don't we? 9 o'clock is getting a bit late for me. It's kind of my bedtime scene. It's kind of my bedtime scene. But joining me is Martyn. Finally, he's back from his holidays. How are you doing, mate? Did you have a good holiday?
Fantastic holiday. I'm still actually on COS time, so I'm 2 hours ahead. So it's 11 o'clock in my mind.
Are you? So when did you get back? You got back? Was it? Yeah, you got back yesterday, right? Or was it
late last night? Yeah, late
okay.
last night.
Yeah. How was your break anyway, mate? Was it good?
Oh, it's fantastic. A nice escape from life and West Ham. Well, until the Monday night, right at the end of it, that ruined it a bit. But I just tried to brush that aside and enjoy the last few days. But no, it was brilliant. I watched the shows while I was away. Good shows.
Mate, I'll tell you what, right? You say taking a break from West Ham. I don't think you really ever do take a break from West Ham. I was joking with Gary about this the other day because I noticed you were in the chat. You've obviously been watching the games as well. You've been kept up to date with all of the news with regards to everything West Ham. So you've been pretty much on the ball, even though you're on holiday. I mean, it's
hard to leave it alone, isn't it?
Well, I would argue and say right now is probably the best time to leave it alone until maybe things are picking up a little bit. Ideal time to go on holiday because you've missed an absolutely diabolical couple of weeks. You know, let's kind of be honest about it. I know it kind of coincided with the international break, but of course the Brentford game, right? So before I crack on with this, I just want to kind of say welcome everyone in the chat. It's good to see you again. Thanks for joining. And late notice as well, bowl accounts, because I got back home from work really late tonight and I realised that my boiler's on the blink. It's just typical timing, mate. We've got no hot water and no central heating in what's probably arguably the coldest day of the year so far. Well, not of the year, but certainly it's the coldest day I've had for a long time. So I'm going to enjoy a really nice freezing cold shower after this one. So I've been running around. Anyway, I thought we'd do a show because there are, as always, a lot of things to talk about. I think it would be remiss of me not to bring up Brentford with you. Now, I spoke with Gary, with Pete and also with Alex about the Brentford game the other day, but I'm keen to get your take on this as well and get your take on all things West Ham as it stands, because we've not spoken for a couple of weeks, have we? In addition, we've also got to talk about Leeds United. Massive game for us tomorrow. It's a significant one, isn't it? So we will talk about Leeds United, and I know you've got some stuff you want to talk around the fans advisory board. We can probably bring up some of the boycott stuff. Well, boycott, I'd say more of the protest that we've got coming up, particularly for the Burnley game and also obviously for the Newcastle game, which is even sooner. So yeah, well, let's crack on, mate. Let's crack on. Brentford. And we won't talk about this too long because we spoke a bit about it the other day. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it started with the lineup. I couldn't believe the lineup when I see Irvin and Suchek. I didn't realise that the wing backs were going to be playing on their wrong sides as well until the game started. But in fairness, we looked good for about 10, 15 minutes. And I was thinking, maybe this is a bit of a master plan here. He's been working with these players while the others were on international duty or something like that. But then it's what has happened all season under all managers. As soon as it starts going a little bit wrong or a team susses us out, and it's not hard to suss us out, and then the heads go down, it falls to... I mean, that's probably the worst home performance. I mean, we've seen a lot of bad ones, like the 6-0s and the 5 and everything, but that could have been 5 or 6-0, couldn't it? The amount of chances they had. I mean, we was lucky with the offside goal. There's ones that hit the bar, ones that just went past the putt. It was an absolute shambles of a defensive performance. And I remember saying on here when Nuno was first coming in, I remember saying Nuno needs a strong base of defence to play his type of football, and we are so far away from that. It's shocking, really. And what made it worse is I was sitting next to 2 Brentford fans. I mean, those lovely people. It was in this sports bar in COS, and we had like great chat after and everything. And the difference between the teams is chalk and cheese, how they've been run, like the way they talk about their club. They also had a stadium move, and everything sort of went quite smoothly. They've had a director of football now for 10 years. The owner lets him do everything. The CEO is in charge of everything, and he's a proper football person. I felt quite sad as I was walking back to my hotel. I was thinking, how a team like that, I mean, no disrespect to them, but I mean, we are a bigger team than Brentford. They've done an amazing job, really, of a vision,
Well, we are.
employing the right people. I mean, it just symbolises where we are.
It makes you
Shocking,
jealous,
isn't it?
doesn't it? It makes
Yes.
you jealous, mate. I mean, I genuinely am so jealous of clubs like Brentford, like Brighton, like Crystal Palace, because those are clubs that are well run, well run. You know, and when you look at West Ham at the moment, it's, as we all know, it's a complete and utter shambles. It's a circus. I don't really know what other words I can use to articulate this, but I mean, I still haven't recovered. You know, like I said, we spoke about this on a live a couple of days ago. I definitely calmed down after Monday for sure, but I was still angry. But I was trying to hold it in a little bit. In truth, right? I think it helped that there was four of us talking about it, and you can kind of calm yourself down a little bit and let other people talk about it. You know, give their opinions on the game as well. But I was really upset by that performance, and honestly, for me, that was probably the most flat I've felt as a West Ham fan for a long, long time. And you know, you kind of pointed out the 6-0 thumpings, the 5-0 thumpings, all these types of games where we've been absolutely spanked. Bizarrely, I felt worse. I actually felt worse, and I don't know. Maybe it's like a culmination of so many poor results, so many poor games, so much turmoil within the club. I just felt like I'd hit rock bottom, and I don't feel much better either at the moment, Martyn. I don't. You know, everything that I'm hearing at the moment concerns me. All of the noise I'm hearing from the club concerns me. When I look at the players, their form, their body language to a certain extent. When we were watching the Brentford game the other day, total disarray. Total disarray. So we really do need to buck our ideas up. I mean, you mentioned about the lineup that Nuno put out there. Do you think he's going to do something similar again like that, or do you think he would have learned his lesson from that?
No, I think probably something looked quite. It must have looked good in training. I mean, surely he's not trying to hang himself. He must have seen something in training. But in all fairness, who are they playing against in training? I mean, the defenders haven't got to play against any decent strikers.
I know.
Strikers haven't. The attacking players are playing against our defence or whatever. However he's seen them players in training, is not how they're going to perform in the Premier League. Because I'm telling you now, Irvine and Souček will not start for another Premier League side. And I'm starting to think we're the worst side in that league. That's the worrying thing. So I think we've got the worst pair of goalkeepers. I think we've got the worst defence. Maybe with Fernandes, when it clicks with Magassa and Potts, possibly there's something there. But apart from Somerville and Bowen, we've got no striker. We are looking like the worst team. And that is, I've never said that, I don't think. Not in the relegation years. I've always thought, you know, we've got a chance of staying up. Now I'm starting to worry. Because we got to get to January. There's a lot of games. Yeah, it's a worrying time. And the fan disconnect with the club. I mean, I get a lot of stick for the protest, being in favour of the protests and that online, but it's nothing. It's unfortunate the timing, but it is where we've been put by these owners. It's nothing to do with us. We wouldn't be protesting if there was nothing wrong.
Mate,
it's a bad
result
time.
Had absolute. Yeah, that result against Brentford had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that, you know, there was maybe circa 20,000 plus that didn't attend that game, season ticket holders that didn't attend that game. Had absolutely nothing to do with it. You know, I mean, in terms of work rate, I'm sorry, right? I didn't see the work rate there. There was no endeavour. There was no desire. There was no tenacity. It was all of those kind of things that you would expect from any performance, right? Now, people always talk about, oh, you know, well, what's the West Ham way? For me, the West Ham way is giving it 110% and leaving it all out there on the field, right? But I'm just not seeing that right now. But it also looks like there's a serious lack of chemistry and cohesion amongst that whole squad of players. Honestly, I just don't see it right now, because the tactics for me, and, you know, again, I mentioned this the other day, it seemed as though, aside from the first 10, maybe 15 minutes, if we're being generous, the tactics were just get the ball to Bowen, get the ball to Somerville, and let's see what happens. And they nullified that threat. I thought Somerville was probably our best player, if I can say that. He probably was our best player that night. But it was just, it was really void. You know, really, really void of ideas. And, you know, you talk about Andy Irvine and Souček not starting games again. Now, I would agree with you. I don't think, and I feel sorry for Andy Irvine because I actually do quite like him. I don't necessarily like him because I think he's a fantastic player, but I just like him. There's something about him. He's a bit of a cult hero. I said it the other day, you know, for weird reasons. We all love chanting his name when he gets on the pitch and he's going to score or whatever. The reality is, mate, he's not a Premier League player. I want to be proved wrong on that. But when you take into consideration that when you look at the transfer window in the summer, there was only one team that was showing a real interest in him, maybe two, one in Scotland, but the other team was Wrexham. And the transfer fee that was being speculated was £4 million. Now, a £4 million transfer fee, do you genuinely believe that £4 million is a Premier League player? You know, it's simply not. And I think that kind of epitomizes to me how bad we are right now. The fact that we've got, and this is no disrespect to Andy Irving, but almost championship fodder players in our squad right now. And they are, you know, they are, for me, they are championship level players. We had a discussion the other day, you know, how many players could we literally depend on and say they're Premier League players? You know, we can trust them, you know, to try and get us out of this shtuck. There's probably maybe a 4 or 5, maybe 6 players at a stretch that we think might be good enough. Now, that is the biggest concern, because how the hell are these guys going to get us out of this situation? Bearing in mind, we've got 12 games leading up to January, maybe more when you consider the fact that the window opens, but we probably won't sign people within the first week of that window as well, because we never do. But really, what the board needs to be doing right now, our director of football, you know, head of recruitment, whatever you want to fucking call him, he really now needs to start working closely with the manager. We need to start identifying targets now. You know, we can't be faffing around and pussyfooting around this within the first week of January. We need to make sure that we've identified our targets. We've got our plan A targets and our plan B targets, so that hopefully if plan A doesn't come off, we know we've got a contingency. We can go for plan B, but we need to get those players in ASAP, because right now, with this squad of players, I'm going to repeat what I said the other day, I genuinely believe that we're going to get relegated this season. And I don't usually say this, Martyn. In fact, I don't think I've said this for many, many years. Many years. I genuinely haven't.
No, I've never believed. I've always been optimistic. I mean, we've had some shocking. There was one year it was really bad. I can't remember the exact year, but I even still felt like up until the last couple of games we could do it. We could stay up, but we could be miles away from that this time. It's not a good season to be crap in this league. It really isn't.
Because there aren't three diabolical teams, are there? There aren't three. Well, I say there are. I mean, there is certainly one diabolical team, and that's ourselves. That is ourselves right now.
Well, exactly that. So, like the likes of Leeds, you'd expect them to be in the sort of category of teams that would go back down. But they'll be looking forward to playing us tomorrow night. If you ask Daniel Farker, who would you like to play tomorrow night, it would be us.
I think
that's the worrying thing.
I think any team, right? Let's talk about Leeds as well, because it's a game where I had tickets to go, right? But I'm not going to go to the game now. My son's going to go with a few of his mates there on a bit of a boys' day out. So they're driving up to Leeds, I think, early afternoon, and then they're going to drive straight back after the game. You know, so I'm really hopeful that they get a result, because I tell you, I think my boy deserves it. He's been, I think he's been to pretty much every away game this season. He deserves it. You know, he does. But if you look at Leeds, what's your thoughts on Leeds so far?
Well, they're just a hard-working team, aren't they? They're all like hard-working, energy players. The centre-backs are tall. It's all organised. And they love playing at home, the energy of the crowd and everything. That's going to be a hard game tomorrow. I mean, we've got Somerville going back there, which might spark Somerville into something. But, I mean, when you look at the positives for us, I mean, what are they? I mean, we're all ruined that Mavropanos is injured, like, as a problem when we all wanted him out the side, like last season. We've got no striker. It does worry me. I mean, got Calvert-Lewin up front, haven't they? We'll come on to it,
mate. We'll come on to them in a minute, right? So let's look at Leeds, right? So they are, as you said, they're a possession-based team, aren't they? If you look at any of the statistics over this season, I think they're pretty much been bossing a lot of games that they've been playing against in terms of possession.
Yeah.
But not only possession, also in terms of the amount of shots that they're getting on the opponent's goals as well, right? So I think they've been incredibly unlucky. Now, if you look at where they are at the moment, right? So Leeds United are currently 16th in the league. And I've put the thumbnail on here saying this is a bit of a showdown for us. And I think it is, right? This is kind of shit or bust for us, because Leeds United, 16th place, they're on 8 points as it stands right now. West Ham United, as we know, we're in 19th position. We're on 4 points, okay? Both played 8 games, right? Now, the worry here is you let Leeds win that game. They're on 11 points if they beat us. We're still on 4. you're starting to see a bit of a gap emerge between some of the teams that we thought would be in and amongst the relegation places, particularly the bottom 4 or 5 spots. They're going to start moving away from that, Leeds. They will start moving away from that. They could go above Fulham and suddenly find themselves in 15th spot. Now, this is a bit of a concern because you look at some of the other teams that we're playing against, right? We've got Burnley coming up. They're in 17th position right now. Okay, they're doing all right. They're kind of doing what we would expect them to do in terms of where they're in the league, maybe doing a bit better than where we would have thought they would have been in the league, right? So they're in sixth. Okay, so like I say, they're in 16th. We're in danger, as I say, of creating a bit of a gap here. But if you look at Leeds United form, and I always look at their form because it is important, right? Now, their previous game, they lost against Burnley, and I did watch a bit of that game. I watched some of the highlights back on that. And then, as always, I look on the stats and in terms of how they performed. Now, Burnley beat them 2-0, but it was a completely unjust win by all accounts. If you look at the stats around this, and I know I'm not always particularly a huge fan on XG, but actually Leeds United had an XG of 1.68. Burnley, it was, I think, 0.45. Leeds had 19 shots. 19 shots, right? Burnley had 4. They beat them 2-0. Okay, they beat them 2-0. Now, you can look at that in a good way. You can also look at that in a bit of a negative way, because what it does mean is that Leeds United are an attack-minded team. They do get a lot of shots on, but they're not as clinical. And I think that's fairly reflective in terms of the amount of goals that they've scored this season, right? Because they've only scored 7 goals, which is not much, okay? I know we're not scoring many either, but they're not scoring many goals. That's always the biggest worry for any team that's playing in the Premier League. You've got to score goals to stay up. They're not scoring many, right? So, am I worried about that? Yeah, I am a bit worried about their style of play, because even if you look at when they played Spurs, another game, right? So they played Burnley last week. They played, they played Spurs. I think that was just before the international break, and they lost 2-1. When they played against Spurs, very, very similar in terms of how they performed. I think they were very, very unlucky not to have got anything out of that game. Again, you look at the stats around that one, right? So Leeds had 16 shots against Spurs 10. Wow. They bossed possession by 56%, right? If you look at the game against Burnley, they bossed possession by nearly 69% possession against both, so basically they keep control of the ball. They know how to attack, albeit they can't seem to be clinical enough. But the worry here is that we're the sort of team, as it stands right now, that will allow those teams to score against us, because we've seen it. We played against a pretty poor Brentford team the other day. We lost that game 2-0, as you rightly said. It could have been 5-6. Mate, even if it was 7, I don't think that would have been unfair. As crazy as that sounds, it could have been. You look at the stats of the Brentford game. I can't remember how many shots they had on target, but it doesn't take into account the shots where they hit the post or the crossbar, which they did on numerous times as well, right? Yeah. So we could have lost that quite convincingly. So Leeds is going to be no walkover, mate. It's going to be no walkover whatsoever. That is going to be one hell of a test in a hostile environment, night game up at Elland Road. Their fans are loud. I'm worried, mate. I'm really, really worried about this one.
I think we've conceded the most goals now as well, haven't we? I'm sure.
Yeah,
well, the league in front of you.
yeah. No, I think we have, mate. I think we have. Yeah. It's got to a point now where, well, I'm not really looking at that, to be honest with you. It's not even about the goals, the amount of goals we're conceding. It's just, can we pick up a point? Can we get 3 points? Can we get a point? That's all I'm looking at this moment in time. I think the goal difference right now, of course, it's important when it gets to the end of the season. But at the moment, for me, it's all about the points. And we ain't getting any, mate. I mean, this is the problem. What do you fancy our chances against Leeds? I mean, truthfully, what do you think? How do you reckon that's going to play out?
Oh, you've got to expect some sort of reaction, otherwise we really are in trouble. So for a start, I expect a better performance. And this style of play, it suits Nuno's counter-attacking style. But it's whether it's our defence. As soon as that starts falling apart, we could be in big trouble up there. It'd be, like you say, Friday night. The fans are absolutely loving life in that stadium, being back in the Premier League. If they go 1-0 up, I mean, they're going to have all the possession. I'm worried, to be honest. It's a massive, massive game, and unless there's a massive reaction from the team, I can't see us winning it. I hate to be negative, but
I think playing away from home for starters is actually going to play into over. I don't, go back to the London Stadium right now, particularly after that game the other day. I think being away from home is probably more of an advantage for us. That's not to say that we're going to win the game, but I think it will play into our favour. I do think there'll be a reaction, in my opinion. Look, I mean, there's got to be a reaction, right? I mean, you could, if there is no reaction after that Brentford game, then we are absolutely screwed. Let's be honest. There's no version of this where I think we can stay up unless we start putting in performances as of tomorrow. Because even if we don't win that game, Martyn, the very least that we expect is 110% effort, attacking teams, making sure that we can be a little bit more resolute in defence and not conceding so many chances so easily. I read a quote, I think I sent it to you earlier on. I think you saw it last night from Gary O'Neill, and he was referring specifically to Max Kilman, saying that he switches off a lot and they had to work a lot with Max Kilman to make sure he don't switch off because he's a big lad. He tires out quite easily, which for me is a bit worrying. I mean, he's a Premier League player. These players should be athletes, at the top of the peak of their fitness. But Max Kilman, apparently, according to Gary O'Neill, who managed him, he worked with him, he's saying that he gets tired quite easily. But that is reflective in terms of the performances that we've seen this season from him, right?
He said that on the Sky programme, didn't he, in the aftermath of it with Jamie Carragher. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing, really, because he wasn't cheap. We could have got a top defender for that money, and I thought we was getting one. Premier League captain, but it just shows you how bad our recruitment's been. I mean, I don't like digging out our own players, but I think we've seen enough of him now, haven't we?
I think we have. I think Kilman and Todibo, 75 million combined for those two as our centre-half pairing is actually disgusting. I mean, we've had our pants pulled down on that one. I said the other day the combined price of Saliba and Gabriel was, I think, 54 million. I mean, it's unreal, isn't it? I mean, it really, really is unreal. But look, I think there will be a reaction. Whether it's enough for us to get 3 points remains to be seen. But I do believe that we will put in a better team performance. I think it will help the fact that we're playing away from home. I know Elland Road can be very, very difficult to go and get points over there. But I'm going to try and be a little bit optimistic, right? I did very, very quickly put together what I think. Well, I say what I think. This is maybe what I hope. I don't know if I hope the lineup will be this, but let me know what you think, right? And I'll be interested. I will come to the chat as well in just a moment as well, right? So this is my thoughts on the lineup for Leeds. So Areola in goal, default, he goes straight in there, right? We're not having no Hans Hermanson in there. It just can't happen. Obviously, as you've kind of already pointed out, Mavropanos is out. It's a massive worry for me. I mean, the fact that it's crazy that I'm even saying this. I said it the other day that we're concerned that Mavropanos is out because last season we wouldn't have really given two hoots about him being out. But right now, the default back pairing would be Kilman and Todibo. That worries me. It really, really worries me. The argument could be maybe we could drop one of those two and stick on Igor, but Igor didn't even make the bench against Brentford, which makes me question, does Nuno rate him? And does he rate him enough to suddenly drop Todibo or Kilman from that team entirely and bring him in? Personally, I don't see him drop. Well, he will not drop Kilman because he knows him, right? He played him at, he had him at Wolves. He brought him through into the team. Will he drop Todibo for Igor? I don't think he will. And if he doesn't, well, Todibo is the only person that can play centre-half, unless you look at bringing maybe Magassa in, who has barely had a kick for us, hasn't been overly effective or impressive in midfield so far. So I can't see him coming into that defence. I think that's probably maybe even more of a gamble, potentially. So I'm sticking with that centre-back pairing because I don't think we've got much choice. Left-back, I mean, you've got to play Magic Diouf, right? You've got to play him in there because why wouldn't you now? He's been back long enough from international duty. I don't think there's any excuse not to play him. There isn't. And I'm going to go with Kyle Walker-Peters. I'm going to go with Kyle Walker-Peters at right back because I don't think he's performed badly for West Ham. But on the other hand, I'm a bit concerned about Aaron Wan-Bissaka right now. I don't think he did anything better than, well, he wasn't, I mean, Scars wasn't great the other day, but he hasn't proved to be like, what he was last season, the hammer of the year for us this year. He's been pretty poor. So I would stick with Kyle Walker-Peters at the back. So what do you think about that back line? Would you change anything?
There's just no other options, is there? I mean, like you say, the Magassa, but is this a time to bring a young player who's not used to the Premier League in a position he has played there, but only in youth level? I can't see Igor, but I think if you play Igor, you're going to have two left. You probably have to go to a back three or something with Kilman, Wan-Bissaka, and Igor in the middle or something. I don't know.
Would you do a back three? Would you go with a back three?
Do you know what? All I want is some sort of stable defence that we can start having a run of games together. And I just want them to have one good game. Would be something. Imagine if we kept a clean sheet. I'd be over the moon.
Well, you know, there is a saying where you say the best form of defence is to attack. So maybe we just need to go at it. Maybe we just really need to take the game to Leeds, because that defence worries me regardless. It does. Doesn't matter what other options that we've got, whether it's Magassa, whether it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka playing right back. I think that's our back four. I do. I'd be interested to see what people in the chat say. I will come to the chat in a minute. I promise you. I definitely will do that. It's just me managing the chat tonight, so I need to kind of, multitask.
The only thing I'd say about
and then when you look at
Aaron, I was just saying about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I know he hasn't looked great, but we need him to be great again. So my mindset would be to start playing him. Let's just get a few games so he's got his position back, because we know he's a good player. He was Hammer of the Year, and I just think we need our players back, the good players playing really well.
Well, look at it this way, right? So we're coming into a pivotal part of the season where typically, because of the amount of games, because it's such a congested fixture list going into November and December, we will pick up injuries. We've already seen Mavropanos go down. Now, imagine, and I don't want to be the prophet of doom here, but imagine if Kyle Walker-Peters gets injured. All right, so we play Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and then he's off to AFCON, right? So then suddenly we're screwed. So this is the thing, right? We're one or two injuries away from being an absolutely dire. I mean, we're bad enough as it is, right? But can you imagine if we have any more injuries to any of these players, we're screwed. Even for the likes of Kyle Walker-Peters, mate. That's the crazy thing about it. So that's the defence I'm going with, right? Midfield, for me, there has to be changes, because we cannot have Souček and Andy Irving in there. And I don't believe for 1 second that Nuno is going to do that. Well, no. I didn't believe for 1 second that he was going to do what he did against Brentford. But I'd like to think that he's learnt from that mistake. So that's the only positive I will take out of that Brentford game, if he doesn't play that centre midfield pairing again, because he needs to get someone in there with legs. So I'm going with Potts. I know some people might say, well, look, stick in Magassa. Quite possibly. But either way, Potts or Magassa has to start in midfield for me, alongside Matías Fernández, who, if I'm being honest with you, has been looking pretty poor as well recently. But again, it goes back to that question. Who else? Do you drop Fernandez for Souček and play Souček and Potsy in the middle? I don't know, but I would assume that he will play Fernandez, and I'm hoping that his partner in midfield will be Freddie Potts. And then obviously on the right-hand side, Jared Bowen, default. I want him on the right. I do not want him playing up front. I want Somerville playing on the left-hand side. I want Paqueta playing further forward, but not as a 9, right? He cannot be playing as a striker again, like a false 9. I don't want him trying to hold the ball up and bring others into play, because he can't do it. You know, he's like a rabbit caught in headlights, and it's not his preferred position. You can see he's totally ineffective playing up front. So I want to see him playing in behind Callum Wilson, because we have to start a striker. We cannot afford to not start a striker, in my opinion. Like I said just now, maybe our best form of defence is to attack, and if we're going to attack, we need a striker in our lineup.
Oh, 100%. It's just madness.
How would you feel about that lineup? Honestly, like if you look at the midfield, you look at Callum Wilson. Would you make any changes there?
The only thing you can really play about is the midfield. I mean, I'd quite like to see Fernandez a bit forward, but then where do you play Paquetá? I certainly don't want him playing as a holder. He just gives the ball away too much. But I don't know. Are we at the point where we leave Paquetá out? I don't know. Because then you could have Magassa. Yeah, you could have Magassa and Potts. I mean, that's enough energy. You're going to need energy, because you've got Longstaff and Tananka in there for Leeds. They boss midfields.
Yeah.
So you're going to need energy, but I think Potts and Fernandez or Potts and Magassa can do that, and then that frees up that sort of number 10 role, doesn't it? But they've got to do that job really well, and then we'll probably see the best of Paquetá. But like you say, he's got to play a striker. If we start without a striker again, it's ridiculous.
It's not a bad shout what you just said there, actually, in terms of really trying to build a bit of a robust midfield in there. You know, a midfield with a bit more strength, more legs, more fitness, more tenacity, because I've not seen enough tenacity. You know, I just simply haven't this season, in all honesty. That's not a bad idea, because we do need to combat the threat of Leeds in midfield, because they are actually particularly strong in midfield, but also they are strong down the flanks as well. That is also, and I'll go to Leeds in a minute, right? So would you make any other changes apart from what you just mentioned? Do you think that's probably our strongest lineup?
I do, yeah. Depending on what the fitness of Wilson is, but what's the option? Marshall, who's got energy and presses, but he hasn't got the height, has he? He's not to play this sort of system. You've got to have a focal point up front, like an Antonio, or maybe bring him back.
You know, I've heard people saying it. Why not bring him back? Why not bring him back? I mean, Christ, could you imagine? But I wouldn't. Again, this is how bad and desperate the situation is right now. I wouldn't be against it, mate. I wouldn't.
No,
I really wouldn't. I don't know. So what's everyone in the chat saying anyway? Let's have a look. Let's go to the chat real quickly, and we'll talk about Leeds United in a second, because I do know a bit about Leeds, right? What's David saying? Souček started as a centre back. I mean, I saw. I don't know what you think about this. I saw a clip of Souček the other day defending. Well, I say defending, attempting to defend against Brentford, and he got absolutely done. And just seeing that one clip made me think, no, I don't want him in centre. I don't want him playing centre half. I really don't. I mean, we've played him everywhere so far. Probably, I don't know. Have we ever played him at centre back before? I don't recall.
I don't think so. No, he may have slipped in there for a period during games, but he's certainly not started games there. But Souček's only ever been he's only in it good in boxes, isn't he? So like defending our box on corners and arriving late for goals at the other end. What happens in the middle of the pitch? He's indecisive with passing.
Box crasher. Yeah, no, 100%. What's Claire saying? I think we'll have our biggest loss of the season at Elland Road. I reckon we'll lose 4. I mean, bloody hell.
Wow.
You wouldn't bet against it, but you would like to think that we've learned our lesson a little bit after the Brentford game. I mean, look, in all honesty, the players have been absolutely torn to shreds this week, as has the manager as well. So you would expect that there's a reaction. There has to be a reaction. What
did you make on the comments about Nuno saying anxiety from the crowd and everything?
I didn't like it. I mean, he kind of quickly reneged on that comment when he done that post-match interview, didn't he? So I think he did say, like, I think the fans being, quiet and nervous is obviously kind of transmitting its way to the players, where they're starting to feel a bit of anxiety as well. I mean, look, I get it, because it's understandable that players will feel anxious, right? I get it, particularly when the crowd is on their back or it's very quiet. And it was very, very quiet at the London Stadium the other day for obvious reasons. There was less people there. There was a lot of tourists there as well, by the way. I know, I don't know if you've seen this, but I do a bit of doom scrolling on TikTok, and I saw a few vlogs from people that went to that game, to that game just to try it out. Because look, 15 quid tickets for adults, £1 ticket for kids. There was a lot of, dare I say it, tourists at that game that were not West Ham supporters. They were completely neutrals, and there was no surprise why the atmosphere was so dead in that game. It wasn't. So I would imagine, going back to your point, that the lack of atmosphere definitely can impact the player or impact the players collectively. The booing doesn't help. I'm not a fan of booing. I mean, if it got to the final whistle and I was really, really pissed off about it, then I think, I've booed many times, when it gets to the final whistle, but not during the game, because you want to try and lift the spirits of the players. But ultimately, the players have got to give us something to cheer about, and they're just not at the moment. Nuno did address that as well, because in that same interview that you're referring to, he did actually say that it's up to us. It's up to us to get the fans, on our side and to kind of give us that energy. I think it is. But come on, they're professional football players. I know they're human beings, and I get that, and they can be impacted by this kind of stuff. But they're professional football players. They're athletes. They should be going out there with a bit of fucking pride, you know. And I don't see enough pride out there. I just don't see any pride at the moment.
Well, it doesn't help that we haven't won there since February, does it? And it's as soon as something goes wrong in the game, the crowd go, oh, and the players do the same, and
which is why maybe playing away from home might be more advantageous for us, because, you know, you can be sure that the away fans will always keep singing regardless. You know, they always do. You know, they always do.
Well, so we shall get the proper fans there, don't you?
Yeah, so Skeptic is saying AWB has to start. I mean, look, I'm not against it. I just don't think he's been. I don't think he's been on form recently. I know he's been in and out of the team, but I don't know. I just don't know. I think. Do you know? It actually depends for me who Leeds United are going to play, and I'll come on to Leeds in a minute in terms of their lineup, what I think they might play, and perhaps where some of their key threats are. But it does depend on that. So I'll come back to the AWB comment in a minute. WH, what you saying? Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining the chat. We need to play fast-paced footy. When we do, we play so good. We need to play fast pace and the 4-3-3 attack. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. I think we do need to play fast pace. At the moment, we're playing so slow. It just frustrates the hell out of me. The only player for me that tries to get the ball moving quicker is Somerville when he's got the ball at his feet. Can you think of anyone else? I can't.
Well, Potts does that. He's quick with the passing. He knows where he's passing it before it comes to him. That's why I'm so surprised he's not featuring. I mean, how Irvin and Souček played there instead of him the other night.
Yeah,
it's beyond me. I can't. I could not give you a reason. That is what we're missing.
I don't think any of us know why. I really don't. I mean, I don't want to keep going back to that Brentford game and talking about that lineup, because we've spoken about it quite a lot and in previous shows as well, but none of it makes sense, you know. Jason, how you doing? Good evening. You made a mistake. Chris Wilson's up front. I mean, is that a mistake? I don't know. I personally choose Wilson over Marshall. I think you have to. I think you need to go with someone with a bit of experience. I know he doesn't have the legs of a Wilson 3-4 years ago, but, you know, Marshall is a young kid. I don't know. I think it's a tough ask because he's coming up against two big centre halves at Leeds. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all. Would you play Marshall?
I think you'll see both of them. It's either he starts with Marshall and then Wilson comes on at 60 minutes or something, or the other way around.
Yeah,
I think I'd go with Wilson. I agree with you, because I just think this is not the time for giving not little kids, but you know what I mean, like. Wilson might actually come in there and say, like, hold on a minute, like he's experienced it, isn't he? And he knows the Premier League.
Yeah. Well, exactly my point, mate. That's the reason why I would go with him. It is. And also, I also believe that the fact that he didn't get off the bench the other day, he must be so frustrated right now. You know, bearing in mind that he's an established Premier League player. He's played for England. He's scored a shit ton of goals in the Premier League as well. Yes, he's tailed off a bit in terms of his career. But when he's seeing Lucas Paqueta playing up front, and then when he's then also seeing a very, very untested youngster in Callum Marshall coming up front over him, when he's seeing Guido Rodriguez come on the pitch instead of him, he must be so wound up and frustrated. So I'd like to think that if he does play, he'll feel he's got a point to prove to Nuno that says, you know what, you're an idiot for not sticking me in the team here. This is what I can offer. And I'm hoping that he can do that. You know, I really, really am. Claire saying she puts Souček in defence. I see WHU saying that Souček has played centre back before. Yeah, I think he has, hasn't it, Slavia Prague? I don't know whether he's done it for his national team. He might have done it at Slavia, but playing at centre back in the Czech league is a whole different ball game, quite literally, to playing centre back in the Premier League. It's much more faster. I think he'd find it a bit of a struggle, in truth. I do, but again, it would depend against what type of opposition he's coming up against, because maybe he's the only one that seems to be able to head the fucking ball in our team, like one of the only players that head the ball. And if you're coming up against Calvert-Lewin, which invariably he probably will do if he played centre back, then maybe that is an option. I don't know, but Souček on his feet, that worries me.
I'll tell you what I did while we're still talking about the defence. I don't know if anyone noticed, but Josh Bridge Josh Briggs it is, from the under-21s, is a Northern Ireland centre-back. He's been training with the first team this week. He didn't play for the under-21s last night. I think they had him on the bench. But he's there's one picture of him on the West Ham site on the preview for Leeds on the official site, just him on his own training.
Okay.
With that, so I'm not saying he's going to start, but he's been involved for some reason.
I think what it is, the West Ham media team try and give you anything to kind of grab onto, clinch onto, to think, oh yeah, there's a positive. So I've noticed they do put a bit of a focus on youngsters when it's not going so well with the established first team. They start kind of, putting a lot of posts up around the youngsters, but I don't think that's going to be the answer. There's also that young English stroke. I think he's also Polish. He descends from Poland as well. I can't remember his name. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I think he's also signed terms as well, isn't he now? He's meant to be at least. Yes, Golombekis. Yes.
Yeah.
But again,
he's a great
if you look
player.
at his stat chart, but he's not physically built, is he yet? I think he's still growing.
No,
I mean, he's very tall, but he's very, very skinny, So we can't be relying on people like that, surely.
No, it's not.
But then maybe we can. Maybe we can, because we've got fucking Kilman and Todibo. So maybe we can. Simon, how you doing? Have you two watched the last 3 years attack? Yeah, of course. I'd love to see us attack teams. Honestly, we clearly can't defend. So why not just go out and attack? Why not? How you doing, Paul? I think Souček could fill in centre. There seems to be a bit of a consensus going on here. Could fill in at centre back. We need heads on the ball. Yeah, just going back to that's exactly what I just said. That's probably the only reasons why I would play him at centre half. I think it would work. Yep, thought about this last game. Keep him holding back. I mean, maybe. Potts and Fernandez in the middle. Yeah, going back to what you said as well, Martyn. Not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout. I'd certainly prefer that over Souček and Andy Irving. That's for sure. I really would. Players also getting Fabs in goal as well.
Really?
I'm not against that either. I'm just not against it, because we know he's a solid goalkeeper. But then again, I don't necessarily think that Areola was awful the other day. I don't think he was. It wasn't really his fault for the goals, was it?
Made one great save, didn't he?
Well, yeah. Yeah, he did make one good save. Yeah, he made one good save. Leaving Paqueta out isn't that crazy, is it? 59 games. Is it 59 games without an assist? Is that true?
For us, yeah. He got an assist for Brazil the other night, but
59 games without an assist. That is shocking. I didn't realise that's true. I know he's not had an assist for a while, but I didn't think it was 59 games. Wasn't he celebrating his 100th game for us against Brentford the other day?
Yep.
So you're talking out of 100 games, the last 59, he's not got an assist.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's 59.
Pretty shocking. Well, if it is, that's worrying, mate. Right, Mr. Anthrop, good evening. Nice to see you. If West Ham had a better central midfield, you saw Monday night when Somerville has played inside, it can be more threatening. ? Fernandez had a poor performance on the left, but there's options. I mean, there aren't many options, though, are there? There aren't many options. I think the problem playing if you're going to play Somerville through the middle, I mean, if he loses the ball, which he does quite frequently at times, because he's the only player that wants to progress and take the ball forward and dribble and run with the ball, I think we could leave ourselves a little bit exposed if we played him through the middle, personal opinion. I'd rather see him on the left-hand side. Much rather see him on the left-hand side. Alvarez could go in at centre-back. We don't have him anymore. Oops, you're right. I know he could have done, right? What a joke. What an absolute joke. It really is. As soon as he's not been great when he was overthinking moves. I don't know who you're talking about there, Paul. Are you talking about Paqueta? I don't know. There's a lot of players that need to get their mojo back as well, isn't there, really? I think we need to get a kick up the arse and play fast-paced football for the rest of the season. The slow-paced shit don't work anymore, has it, for years? Look, I agree with that comment, but do we have the players? Do we have the players to play this fast-paced style of football at the moment? Because when you look at our team, who actually has pace, apart from Somerville, apart from Diouf, and Guilherme, who barely plays, who else have we got that has pace, that can help us attack teams with pace? Can you think of anyone else?
We haven't, but it's not just pace, sprinting pace, it's movement of the ball quicker. And I think that's what Potts does really well. That's why I'd start getting Potts in this side regular, because he just gets the ball and it's gone straight away. There's none of this sort of pussyfooting around with it. I think that's what we're missing, that in midfield, that energy and sort of running games and pulling players about. That's the only way you get sort of Paquetá in between the lines and things.
Yeah. Here's one. I'm scrolling down because I need to catch up with this. Would you swap Paquetá for Guilherme?
It just depends where he's playing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. But Paqueta's been awful, mate. But
Yeah.
I felt for Paquetá a little bit because, he didn't have a good game the other day, but he's playing out of position. I'd like to think that we can stick him back in that kind of 10 role where he can hopefully get on the ball, be a bit more creative, and he's got players in front of him that can hopefully, take some of those chances that hopefully he's going to need to start creating. Clearly, would be good.
Yeah.
RJ Middleton saying 100 games and 9 assists. Wow. I need to look. I will need to look that up. If that is true, that is shocking. I mean, that is very, very shocking for a Brazilian attacking midfielder that ultimately is a creative midfield player. He is, but clearly those stats don't reflect that.
Considering I can remember he got 2 assists in one game or 3 assists in one game once when he was playing really well. He assisted Kudos twice, didn't he? He must have really fallen off.
What about Theron? Would you play Theron?
I just don't. It's not what we need. It is what we need, that style of player, but it's replacing what? Paquetá in that sort of 10 area.
I mean, he's not going to do it, is he? He's not going to do it. He's not going to do something like that. But would I be against it? I mean, if I wouldn't be against him being on the bench and coming on with Paquetá, if Paquetá's playing shit, I wouldn't be against that whatsoever, because I don't know who else can play in that 10 role. I really, really don't. But anyway, let's have a look at Leeds lineup. Their potential lineup. Now, you know a little bit about Leeds in terms of how they play, right? Formation wise, what's your understanding of Leeds?
Well, it's like a 4-2-3-1, but it's a bit flexible. Sort of goes 4-3-3 at times. But they've got that main Tananka and Longstaff holding, like full of energy. And obviously they've got the wing backs, Bogle and Goodmunson. They're a well-drilled side. You've got like Daniel Drames. I don't know if Notto's going to play or not, because I think he's got an slight injury worry.
Yeah, well, so I'm looking at their current squad in terms of who is out. Now, they actually don't have any out right now, from what I'm hearing. They've got players that are doubtful that are making their way back and actually have started training again, right? So the player that you've just referred to, so Wilf Gnonto, I've got to tell you, I do know a bit about this player because I watched him play, because he excites me. Well, he did excite me. He made his debut. I think he was one of the youngest, if possibly still the youngest player to make their debut for Italy, which is saying something. I think he was like 17 years of age, right? But he has pace. He has pace and he has strength. I suppose you could say that maybe he could and should have a bit more of an end product. And going back to that comment about playing Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, if Wilf Gnonto plays and he typically comes in off the left, then that's a problem for us. That is a problem for us. How would Kyle Walker-Peters play against him? I don't know. I probably would be more inclined playing AWB against him, in my opinion, because actually I think Wilfried Gnonto is a very, very good player. A very good player. And I think he's got so much potential, so much talent and potential. He would be one of the main players that I'm worried about, actually. He would be. You've kind of mentioned a few already there as well, right? So Noah Okafor, so he's got a bit of a groin, but he's back in training now. And then you've got Ethan Ampadu, who is obviously their captain, can play as a holding midfielder, but also can play at centre-back as well. So he kind of plays both roles for Leeds this season. And then I think it's Pascal Struijk as well. So he's another player that has an illness right now, but could be coming back. Now, in an ideal world, Wilf Gnonto, Okafor, Ethan Ampadu and Pascal Struijk, if they're not playing, then that's going to be an advantage for us. It will be an advantage for us. But the big question is if they don't play. if they don't
Yeah.
play. So yeah, as you said, right. So they typically, from my understanding, Leeds United typically play a 4-3-3 formation. Okay, usually that is kind of the formation that they play. My worry, Wilf Gnonto, if he plays, I think Jack Harrison, he's got pace. Do you remember that game when he scored?
Oh, I lost you.
Yeah, did you remember that game when he scored a hat-trick against us at the London Stadium?
Yeah, oh yeah, how could I forget? Another wonderful time at the bowl.
No, but he's got pace, right? So he is a threat, as is Gnonto. And the other one, and I hate to say it, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, he's got 1 goal in 5 games this season. 1 goal in 5 games. But as we know, he's a physical lump. He's not going to make it easy for us, particularly for our centre halves. And in actual fact, he's probably going to relish that challenge because he's got 2 centre halves he's coming against that cannot head the ball. Yeah. What do you reckon?
Oh, he would have watched the Brentford game and he'd be thinking to himself, "This is my chance to get a couple of goals." Wow. I mean, when we was linked with him, I was sort of saying, "Oh no, I don't want him," but I'd take him now, wouldn't you? Wish he was playing 100%. For us tomorrow night.
100%. If I'm lagging, apologies. I think I am lagging, aren't I, Martyn? I don't know why.
Yeah, a little bit. Why. You're all right now.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why that's happening. DCL will have 4 goals in 6 games. Is that against West Ham, Claire? I know he scored against us before. Is that his record?
He normally scores against us, doesn't he?
So Brooke Bonds is saying AWB would have Gnonto in his back pocket. I don't know about that. I mean, I'd like to think that he would be the better option to come up against Gnonto, but he's a good player. He's a very good player. So I don't know.
The other thing you've got to worry about is Daniel James on the other side. If Diouf's caught forward, we know he ain't the greatest at getting back. But they'll be exposed. It's quite obvious to pick out the ways you can expose West Ham. And like Farquhar's good at that, and he's a good manager, a tactical manager. Yeah, that's why I'm really worried about this game. We need to see a big improvement in all areas. I mean, even from the likes of Bowen and that, it's just, we need everyone to have an A-class game to get something out of this. This can't just be like a stroll in the park.
No, I agree. So, you know what? We briefly touched upon this the other day when we did a live, but maybe we've had 48 hours since we did the last live. I'm going to ask you first, Martyn. Predictions. Leeds United away. What do you reckon?
Oh, I hate to predict us losing, but I think we have a better performance and lose 2-1. But a performance that gives us some sort of hope to just hold on to a little bit. I really hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. I find it hard to predict even a draw out of this.
Mate, if we can't beat, I know Leeds is no walkover, but if we can't get a point or get something out of that Leeds game, what hope do we have playing at home against Newcastle?
No, very little.
Do you know what I mean? That is a real worry. I mean, I'm going to go back to this fixture list real quickly, yeah? So let's take a real quick look at this. Leeds away, right? So let's say, for instance, you're saying possibly a point, but maybe a loss. Okay, but you're not really predicting that we get 3 points out of that game. Then we've got Newcastle at home. I do not think that we'll get anything out of that game. Maybe a draw at best. Burnley at home, well, that one is an absolute... I mean, that is a relegation 6-pointer. I mean, I'd argue and say tomorrow's game is a relegation 6-pointer. Yeah, and then you've got Bournemouth, who are currently sitting themselves in lovely 4th position, and Liverpool. Oh, so when you look at that run of games there, if we can't get anything out of Leeds, and let's say we get a point out of Newcastle, let's say we get 3 against Burnley, right? So let's say 4 points. I can really only see us getting 4 points out of the next 5 games. It's getting worse, mate. And then you go into December, and you've got, 6 games in December. None of which are easy. None. Not one of those fixtures there is easy.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, we said this before, didn't we? Just to get to January when we can make some new signings. That's if we make them at the beginning. But we could be down by then. It could be almost unrepairable.
Do you think, honestly, do you really think that we will go down this season?
I'm not. It's only since Monday I've thought, bloody hell, we look like we're going down, unless something changes quickly.
I know. It's
we
worrying,
shouldn't
isn't
be.
it?
We have got. Have we got a squad to get out of this? I don't think we have at the moment. We need. It's not about stylish football now. We've literally got to get every point matters now. The wins, all right, it'd be great, but a point really matters now. Because if we get to the end of that Christmas period and we're at the bottom of the table adrift, then wow, not many people come back from that.
Chris, wake up, mate. We are awful. I didn't say we weren't. Did I say that we would? I remember that.
Yeah, I mean,
Martyn, can you hear me all right?
Oh yeah, you just lagged a little bit. I think.
Oh God, mate, I mean, what's going on? Yeah, I don't think I need to wake up, mate. I know we're awful. I'm not predicting we get anything out of Leeds. I'm not predicting we get. I'm predicting maybe a point against Newcastle if we're lucky. You know, I'm not. Maybe Burnley we might get a result against, but honestly, I just can't see how we're going to get many points over the next 5 games. 4,
Are we
5
the underdogs?
Points,
Are we the underdogs tomorrow night?
Mate, I think we're the underdogs of pretty much every game we're playing against so far. I mean, we are, aren't we? Why wouldn't we be?
Yeah.
We're 19th in the league. We can't defend for shit. We can't attack for shit. We can't score a goal, let alone get many. I mean, look at Brentford. We got 1 shot on target. Bowen had 1 shot. Their keeper could have had his flipping deck chair up and his feet up, right? He had nothing to do. Nothing to do, Kelleher, at all. I barely even remember them even saying his name when I was watching the game on the telly, mate. I barely even remembered it, right? So what's everyone saying predictions-wise? So another 4-0 Leeds. Christ, we're in 3-4. No Mavropanos and Nunes not. Seeing the lack of legs in midfield, hence picking the wrong players. He did pick the wrong players for the last game. Let's hope he gets it right for the next one tomorrow against Leeds, because 4-0 again. Christ, what's everyone else saying? What is everyone else saying? 4-1 defeat. Yeah. Is everyone predicting a defeat here? Can people just in the chat just tell us win or loss? You don't have to predict necessarily a specific score, but I'm just intrigued. If you think we're going to win the game, put a W. If you think we're going to lose the game, put an L. If you think we're going to draw it, just put a D. I'd love to hear what people are saying about this. I really, really would. Simon's comment here, chaps. Who on God's green earth are we signing? Get real.
It's a fantastic question, isn't it? Because again, we come back to the ownership. It's going to cost money, isn't it, to get any decent player out of any club? And who's going to want to come to us in January? So you're limiting yourself to a small sort of field of players that maybe are not doing too great somewhere, but were great players before. I mean, Nuno comes with George Mendes, doesn't he? That's the So that off the top of my head, I don't know what players are on his agency. But
he's got loads. Yeah. He has got. I mean, he. Not that we're going to do this, by the way, but he represents some of the biggest names in football, in world football.
Oh yeah,
he's got Lamine Yamal. Yeah, he's got all of those players. It's not going to happen though, right? So you'd like to think that hopefully that might equate to us signing a good player, maybe from Portugal, because he signed like 3/4 of the Portuguese squad when he was at Wolves. But it all comes down to a lack of funds, doesn't it? I don't know what the funds, what the transfer kitty situation is. All I do know is what Sky reporting. I think it might have been Darmish. I can't remember who it was now, but they did say that the board are saying to Nuno that they will back him in the window, and for at least 1 striker, 1 midfielder, 1 defender, at least. I don't know where we're getting that money from, mate. I have no idea where we're getting that money from.
No, I mean, I'm no financial expert, but I think we're in a bit of a black hole with money-wise at the moment. So it's going to take someone to put some money in.
Yeah, and is Sullivan really going to stick his hand in his back pocket, mate? Because I don't see it happening. Short arms, long pockets, mate. He's a tight bastard. There's never a nice new coat
the other night.
We are in the. I saw the camera pan to him and also to Brady with a lovely new face. Honestly, it just angers me. But it's bad enough watching West. I mean, that's the first time I've seen West Ham play at home on TV for many, many years, and I did not want to see them. I didn't want to see. As soon as I saw them, it just angered me even more. It did. It might sound a bit daft, but it actually did. Players saying we need dirty fighting mindset from the players. We need grit, determination, giving 100% on the pitch. We have one player that might do that in Bowen, yeah, but one player isn't enough. But you're right. I'm in complete agreement with that. Hence the reason why I like the idea of playing Potts in midfield, because I do believe that he understands what it means to play for West Ham. He can be damn well sure his dad will be telling him that as well. We need people that are going to go out there and fight for that fucking badge. And I'll tell you something, if Kilman's half asleep like he has been for most of this season, just bomb him out the team as well and play a youngster, because I'm sick of it, mate. You know, people talk about us playing this fast, frenetic type of football. When you've got players at the back that are incredibly slow, like Kilman, it doesn't help. You know, that guy is supposed to be good moving forward with the ball, right? He's supposed... I don't see it. Every time he gets the ball, it's like 2, 3, sometimes even 4 touches, passes it sideways. I don't see enough progressive passes from that as a centre back. I don't see it. Don't know about you, but I don't. Honestly, I don't see the fight. I don't see the determination. I look at Kilman. He was completely switched off and half asleep in that game against Brentford, as he has been for most of this season. You look at Todibo. I mean, he made the most ridiculous challenge, I think, near to the halfway line, where they started hitting us on the counter-attack. You dive in for a challenge like that. If you're going to dive in for a challenge like that, you've got to make sure you win that fucking ball. You don't do it otherwise, right? You don't do it. But he seems to be very rash in his decision making. I'm really worried about this. I am. I want to think that we get a point out of this, but I just think it all comes down to what Claire's saying here. We need a dirty fighting mindset. We need leaders. We need people that are going to step up now and lead. That's what we need more than anything. We really, really do.
Yeah, it's a fight now.
And there's a lot of people. Yeah, we do need. I mean, 2-0 Leeds, Obsidian, 3-3. I mean, that'd be a cracking. I'll take that. I'll take that right now.
Yeah.
I'll take it because at least means we're scoring goals. Colin Sand a loss. Claire, we know you were Sand a loss. 4-0 loss. Colin Sand a loss. Andy Sand a loss. Bob's not just Sand a loss. He's Sand a heavy loss. Jason,
wow.
He's Sand a win. I love it. Rory Green is saying a loss. Brooke Bonds is also saying a loss. Yates is saying a 2-2 draw again. I would take that. Look, I mean, it's got everyone saying a loss here. Actually, yeah, hold up. Another win here. We need to fight for every second of the game tomorrow. I'm saying a 2-1 win. Come on, you Irons. Brian lost. Dan lost. Endrick, yeah, LOL, never happening, mate. Do you honestly think Endrick was even in? Look, Endrick apparently he doesn't get in the Real Madrid team, does he? Doesn't get in the Real Madrid team. Most likely he will go out on loan because he needs to get game time. But do you honestly think that anyone in their right mind, particularly Endrick, is going to want to join West Ham? He's a world-class talent. He's a youngster. He's not going to come to West Ham for a relegation dogfight, is he? No way. Not going to happen. Yeah, we'll get him when he's 40 and in a home. Yeah, that's probably about right. I agree with that. Right, Martyn, you were going to bring up the fans advisory board meeting, weren't you?
Yeah, just to make a point, really, that the follow-up meeting from the FAB meeting that they had with the club, where they asked them a series of questions, that's actually happening tonight. So Karen Brady's got to answer them 7 questions. So it'd be interesting to see what comes of that. I don't think we'll get the official minutes or anything for a little while, but hopefully we'll get some information early in the morning from someone about how it went. But yeah, there's some good questions in there.
There are. You know what? Have you got those questions in front of you? Because I'm really intrigued to see what they come back with.
Yes. When will the club move to a professional governance model with a CEO and director of football instead of Sullivan running it? Obviously. What credible financial strategy will prevent further PSR breaches and enable consistent squad investment? How will the club balance revenue generation with fan experience, inclusion and equality? Where is our heritage and why has it not been displayed 7 years since the written commitment by the board was made? What is the 5-year vision for West Ham United on and off the pitch?
God, that question right there, that for me, I mean, look, all of the other things absolutely important to understand, right? But this 5-year vision, there is no 5-year vision. There is no. Let's be honest. Of course, there isn't. But I'd love to hear what our answer is.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. What structural changes will ensure genuine, timely, and meaningful supporter engagement in future decision making? What is the long-term football vision for recruitment, youth development, and European competitiveness?
But, I'll tell you what, Dad's our job. So you're happy to come on for 15 minutes. We're more than happy for you to jump on, mate. I'll tell you what, just keep going through those things. What I can do, hold up a minute. I can send you a link. Just bear with me for a second, because it'd be good to have you on. Hold up.
No, definitely.
Give me a sec. Martyn, you can't get hold of the chat, can you?
No, I can't. Not at the moment, unfortunately.
All right, hold up. Let me. That's our job, right? I'm going to send you the link on. Where can I send it to you? I'm going to send it to you on TikTok.
I've got one question.
Oh, gosh, hold up. Excuse the noise in the background. Right, if you go into your TikTok, you'll see I've sent you a link on StreamYard, so feel free to join it. We're not going to be in here much longer, mate. Got to be honest with you. Maybe for another 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, you're welcome to join, mate. Right, where are we? Can we even sell Paqueta without a record? Hey, do you know, it's a good point, right? What is Paqueta even worth now? What is he actually worth? What do you reckon?
God. Is anyone going to come in for him? That's the question, isn't it? I mean, I know he's got that buyout clause, but that don't mean anything, as we saw with Kudus.
So that was quick. How you doing, Adam? You all right?
How you doing, chaps? You all right?
We're all right. Yeah, we're all right, mate. It's all very depressing, mate, to be fair. it's all very depressing. We're trying to, you know what we like on these shows? We always try and end it on a bit of a high, but it's so damn hard sometimes, particularly right now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but yeah, I've just done an hour and a half on our channel talking West Ham, and then it didn't make any matters any better when I'm hosting it with two Arsenal fans who are just talking about the other end of the table and winning it all. So we're going to lose it all, and they're going to win it all. But yeah, it was quite a melancholy episode. I'm not going to say the least, but I think it is very hard to be a West Ham fan at the minute. I mean, we're trying our absolute best to get behind the club, but they just end up shooting us down, don't they? When we need them the most.
Yeah, no, they are. They really are. They really, really are. Martyn was just going through some of those points that are going to be raised in the fans' advisory board with Karen Brady. A 5-year plan. What do you reckon? Do you reckon we got a 5-year plan, or maybe a 5-day plan? What do you reckon, or a 5-minute plan?
When's the 5 year starting? Is it when we leave, or was it 5 years ago? Because it would be nice to know when that milestone was set and when it will be completed. So at the minute we've got no plan. We've got no idea where we're going to go. How can we have a 5-year plan when we on our 4th manager in 18 months? So you've got to build your team around those coaches, and it's just ridiculous in terms of the whole thing. We ain't got no structure in place. It's a lot of work needs to be done. A lot of work.
It does. Yeah. It does. What are your thoughts on the game tomorrow?
I'm not. Well, my Arsenal colleagues are basically saying we're going to win 2-1, and me being a West Ham fan was like, oh, okay, but we watch them week in, week out, and we know exactly what they're capable of and playing. We know where their mistakes are. And I think it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. It's really going to be tough. I don't think it's going to be a walkover at all. I think we've already seen Leeds turn over Everton this season at home. And I could probably see them doing exactly the same to us, because when they played Everton, they were a battering ram all game. They were knocking on the door. And if we get, we've been battered left, right and centre by attacking pressure throughout the game this season. So if Leeds are going to do it, they're going to get a sniff. They're going to score against us, and our defence is so fragile at the moment. I say we've got to rely on our attacking ability to keep us in that game, because we can't rely on our defence to have a shutout.
We can't. I mean, if you look at the results, right? I went through a couple of them just now, but let's kind of go back a little bit further here, right? So mid-September they played Fulham. They lost 1-0. It's not a disgraceful result. Fulham are a decent team. They beat Wolves away 3-1. They drew with Bournemouth at home 2-2. That's a very good result. Bear in mind, Bournemouth are 4th in the league right now. They played Spurs, where, as I said earlier on, I thought they were incredibly unlucky to lose that game 2-1. They had a heap more chances, bossed possession in that game. I thought they were actually, I think they were really, really unlucky in that one. They should have probably got something out of that game. And the same for Burnley. They dominated that game. How they came away with a 2-0 loss, I do not know. So when you look at those results, there's no results there that you can say Leeds have been crap. Like, genuinely, because even the games that they lost, Burnley and Spurs in particular, they were really unlucky. So that doesn't really bode well for us.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, those sort of performances, they give you hope, don't they? Whereas you look at our performances and the losses and the way that we've lost, you'd like to think Leeds will probably be the team that are going to come out better in that result against us, because we've been playing terrible. Yeah. I can't say we've had a game where we've actually played well this season, like probably Everton, but I think even then that was Nuno's first game, and it was almost a bit of a new manager buzz, wasn't it? But even when you look at like when we beat Nottingham Forest 3-0 with Potter, we didn't play great that game. I think we only turned up from 82nd minute when Somerville came on, and then let's say 10 minutes smash and grab, and then the result flattered us. That's how we really need a good performance on Friday. We desperately need it to have any hope for the fixtures coming up.
Do you think us playing away from home is probably ideal for us, bearing in mind the situation at Brentford, played at home the other day? Obviously, it's a difficult ground to play at. It's a home ground. It's not easy for players to play there. Do you think it's better for them to be playing away over at Elland Road?
I think Nuno said the comments was probably quite highlighted it perfectly. He said he needs the fans. He needs the fans to be able to do well. And on Monday night, the fans, 20,000 fans didn't show up because of the protest of the board. But you can guarantee our away support is one of the best in the country, and they're going to give 110% for those players. So maybe there might be that incentive for them to play well away, because we're going to get the die-hard fans that are going to travel the country to support that club. So possibly might get that support in that drove.
I think it will help. I do think it will help. I think they need to get away from the London Stadium. In truth, I do. It's got nothing to do, in my opinion. It's got sod all to do with the boycott. Nothing. We would have lost that game regardless. I don't think that game would have been any different. If anything, it could have even been worse, because I think the fans could have really turned. Could have really, really turned. And there was not much of a noise there. There wasn't. The only noise that I really ever heard was at half-time booing, full-time booing. I didn't really hear much else. I could actually hear some of the players talking on the pitch when I was watching it on the box, and that just goes to show, what a lack of atmosphere that we have in that stadium. Is shocking. So I'm hopeful, right? I'm usually the negative one, and at least I have been negative this season. Last year, I was always being positive when I was on here, and I was saying, 3-1 West Ham, 2-1 West Ham. I'd like to think I'm more of a realist now, but I'm going to kind of end this a little bit now in terms of my prediction, because I actually think we might get something, right? I think we might get something, because I believe there will be a reaction from the players, because I think there has to be. There just simply has to be. We cannot put that level or that lack of performance again against Leeds United away. Can't do it. As you've pointed out there as well, Adam, we're all of the diehards are going to be down there again. My boy's going to be down there. The away fans are fantastic. They always are. So I fully expect that the players will be up for this one. And if you look at the run of games that we've got coming up after Leeds, we've got Newcastle and then we've got Burnley. It doesn't get easy. This game right now is massive for us, because bearing in mind, Leeds will be on 11 points if they beat us. Suddenly you can see a gap emerging, and we can't afford for that to happen. The players need to understand this. So we need to bridge that gap. Honestly, we need 3 points. We need 3 points. I am actually going to, you won't believe this, Martyn. I am going to go with, I am going to predict a win. And I know this is against the odds, and people might say I'm completely nuts by saying this, but I'm going to predict the win. And I'm going to go, right? I'm going to go fucking bold here. I'm going to go back to my original predictions. I'm going to say West Ham are going to win 3-1.
Wow.
I'm not going to. I know it sounds crazy, but look, honestly, all of my predictions so far this season, Martyn, have been pretty much spot on. They have been, right? I think we're going to win tomorrow. Honestly, I know it's against the odds. I get that. I know that we don't have the depth, we don't have the squad, we don't have a striker, we don't have the centre. I get it, but this is so West Ham. This is so typical West Ham to suddenly turn up and get a result. And I'm gonna go with 3-1 West Ham. And I know people are gonna fucking pile into me on the chat, but I don't give a shit. I'm gonna call it now.
Can I just say you're nuts for saying it?
Yeah, I know. But you know what? You got to be a bit mad sometimes. Come on, you look at some of the results that we have had in the past. You know, games where we never expected to get anything out of it. There've been games where we have expected to get things out of it. You know, Gary the other day was convinced we were going through the next 5 games. He's like, 7 or 8 points or 9 points. I was like, no, Gary, it ain't going to happen, right? I didn't think that we were going to beat Leeds away before the Brentford game, but conversely, because of the Brentford game, because of how bad we were, I'm convinced that the players are going to turn up. I am convinced they're going to turn up. And for me, if they can put in that level of performance, that work rate, that 100%, leave it all out there on the pitch, I think we've got a chance. I do. So, but I'm going to caveat this slightly and say only if we don't do anything stupid like we did against Brentford the other day in terms of the personnel. We can't be playing left backs at right backs and right backs at left back. We can't be playing Irvin and Souček in midfield. We need to make a number of changes in order for that to happen. But sod it, you know what? I don't care. Yeah, I'm not smoking crack. I'm just saying 3-1. Look, Darren, I appreciate it, mate. I think it's going to be 2-1. I'm going to go 3-1, and I'm saying it's going to be against the odds as well, right? I'm going to say that we may not even necessarily deserve it. Maybe we'll hit them on a counter attack. Fuck knows, but yeah, I'm going to go 3-1.
When you look at Nuno's 3 games, you got that is a strange game, isn't it? That Brentford game, because the first game we looked good against Everton. I thought, wow, there's a bit of a difference here. It was a good result. Arsenal obviously is really hard to go to the Emirates at the moment and get a result, but I didn't think we disgraced ourselves there. It just came up against a much better team. But what happened on Brentford on Monday night is a complete. I just cannot explain any part of it. The team selection, the performance of the players. So maybe we should be focusing on the other 2 games, the away performances. And you might be right, Chris. We might be celebrating tomorrow night.
Am I selling the idea of a win to you now, mate?
Yeah, you're talking me into it.
Good. What do you reckon, Adam?
We'll lose 1-0, mate.
Just like that. What? Just one though. Just one.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I think it'll be quite a tight game, and I think it'll be like an 88th minute conceding. You're like, we played so well, and it's a positive. And then you'll see, there's a positive spin on it. Like, we're playing well. We only lost by 1 goal, that sort of thing. But I've not got much hope. I'd like to see us win. I'd get my support 100%, but I'm just being probably more pessimistic more than anything, just because of the state that we are at the moment. But hopefully we can get a win. But please tell us. I mean, when was the last time we lost at Elland Road? I think I'm struggling here actually as to when we did lose at Elland Road for quite some time.
You're good with the stats, Martyn, aren't you? You know this, don't you? I think you've got it. You've got this, haven't you?
We normally do well there, don't we? And I remember Antonio scoring that last-minute winner. That was a few seasons back. Yeah, I think we normally do well there, don't we?
Doesn't it make you laugh how the West Ham media team loves sticking out some of these nostalgic games where we've turned over teams, honestly. And some of those games as well, and some of those goals they put out there, you're talking like some of them like 10, 15, 20 years ago. And you're like, geez, we really are scraping the barrel here, aren't we, to try and look at positives.
Winterburn header or something like that.
Yeah, that one. I saw that one. Yeah, I saw that one as well. What's that all about? What is that all about? But yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with 3-1. I know it's mental. I completely understand it's mental, and I know it's highly unlikely, but it's West Ham for you. The
other good thing is this has come really quick because players hate. If it was a long break between these 2 games, I think that's going to benefit us because that anger from that result on Monday is going to be there. Hopefully, we will see a reaction. We got to, otherwise we start thinking about a championship.
Yeah, well, I'll say one thing, right? If we don't win, sorry, Adam, if we don't win, okay, and I'm completely wrong, which I probably am, but if we don't win that game and we get turned over, then I'm going to turn around and say we will get relegated because this is the game for me where they need to step it up a gear. Not just 1 gear, fucking 6 gears. They need to really, really go for it. So if we lose that game convincingly and we do not have that level of performance that we expect and we hope for, then I think we're relegated. I look at these runner games coming up, and it might be too early. I know Alex was saying the other day we've still got 90 points to play for. I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, you look at 12, 13 games between November, December, going into the transfer window. That will be season defining for us. And if we lose against Leeds, got some tough games coming up, I think we're fucked. That's my personal opinion. That's just why I'm
Yeah.
hoping tomorrow we can get something.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
mate, you were
I
saying.
think no, no. I think you're right in terms of the pressure in that. I think if we get like 20 points by halfway mark of the season, I think it kind of gives us hope for staying up the second half, because we'll have a January window to be able to get more players in. There's Kobe Mainu that's been linked, Ivan Toney. I think those players could massively on loan, obviously, because those guys ain't getting games. Or Tony is, but Kobe Mainu isn't, and he'd be ever present in our midfield. But anyway, that's 3 months down the line.
Yeah.
But I think what we learnt on Monday is that Nuno needs to play to West Ham's strengths rather than focus on other people's strengths. Because what we did on Monday was we played inverted fullbacks and players that had never played there before, trying to focus on the other team, and they never done it. They never done what he set out, what their game plan was. So it was like, oh, okay, now they've not had inverted wingers. We're pretty much fucked, because we've set up to play their way. We just need to play our way and let them focus on us, because I think that's where we'll probably get over these games. Is, if we play Diouf as a left wing back and Aaron Wan-Bissaka as a right wing back, and they're attacking and their crosses are coming in, and you've got a Callum Wilson on the end of it, I think that's going to be hopeful for the next couple of months until we do get those recruitments. But yeah, I think Nuno just has to focus on what good players we've got in the right positions and where we can actually win games rather than focus on the opposition.
Yeah. No, I agree. We just need something to cling on to, don't we? Really, just a bit of hope. And you're right. I would like it if other teams actually are worried about us. I don't think they are at the moment, though. I think I was up at Everton. I watched that game, and I was really pleased with that result. Really pleased with that result. I thought it was a solid performance. If that was under Potter, we would have lost that game. No doubt in my mind about that. Yeah. I think Everton they did edge the first half, but in the second half we gave them a really good game. Arsenal, as you pointed out, Martin, I was at that game as well, and it's Arsenal. They, as much as it pains me to say, they could be winning the Premier League this season. We were defensively a lot better than we had been. We were better on set pieces, but it just all fell to shit against Brentford. And I think a big part of that, honestly, is obviously the fact that he was tinkering around with the actual lineup. For whatever reason that is, maybe it was because of international break. I don't know, but that game is done now. Hopefully he's learnt from his mistakes and we can go out there and we can put on a performance and play the right players. And if we can do that, I'll go into the weekend a very happy person, as I'm sure we all will. Yeah. All righty. Well, look, we've gone a bit over, as per usual. We always do. I mean, it's an hour and 20. One day we will hit an hour, Martin. It's ridiculous. Any last words, guys? Any positives? Any positives to end the show on? Come on, mate.
It's been a tough week. I don't know. The positive is you thinking we're going to win 3-1, I think. That's giving me a little glimmer of hope.
Fucking hell, mate. Is that it? Is that it? What about you, Adam? Any positives? Anything that we can be positive about going into Leeds tomorrow?
I think the positives are our academy. I think if we can rely on them in terms of they've got Mark Robson and Steve Potts there as the coaching, and be able to get them more game time, I think the future will be bright in giving the experience to these academy players, because we've got a fantastic academy. The players that we've got at that age group is ridiculous. Bear in mind, this is the same team or same group of players that smashed Arsenal 5-1 in their own backyard to win the FA Cup. And 2 of those Arsenal players have gone on to make senior appearances in Champions League. And you think, why haven't the West Ham academy stepped up? They're supposed to be better than them. So I think that's the positives, is to hold on to the academy, because that is what West Ham way is all about, that academy.
100%. Well said, Adam.
I agree with you.
It's one day closer to BSL.
Yes, I like
Every
it.
day is one day closer. One day more is
I think another positive is the upcoming protest as well. I'm actually looking forward to them. I am. I've said it before. I think it's nice to get that collective of West Ham fans that, we all care about the club, but turn up there in their numbers. And I think it's so important for the Newcastle sitting for the Burnley home game, protest beforehand. I'm looking forward to it, you know, around like-minded people that understand what the fuck's going wrong with this club. You know, are going to fight for this club to try and get back what is ours, and it is ours. I don't give a toss what anyone else says. This is our club. You know, these people are here temporarily. Hopefully we can make it as temporary as possible the more we keep up with these protests. So, yeah, look, thank you. Thanks, Adam, for joining late on the show. Martyn, as per usual, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad you're back. I don't know where your tan is, mate. You said you got a tan. I look like... I think
somewhere. It's on my head, look.
Yeah, it looks more burnt than a tan, mate. It looks more burnt than a tan. But look, good to have you back. Cheers, Adam. Thank you to everyone in the chat. If you like the channel, as per usual, it's always much appreciated if you can subscribe. But first of all, like the video as well. And yeah, we'll be back soon. No Gary tonight. Obviously, you probably realised he's out travelling, but he's back the weekend, isn't he? I think he's back. He's got a plane back. Second half of the Leeds game, I think he lands in the UK. So no doubt we'll be back again. We'll be back again at the weekend. And until then, keep up the faith. Come on, you irons. See you soon.